Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about what's an attachment style? I talk about attachment styles in a lot of my videos, and some of you guys have no idea what I'm talking about. So in this video, I'm going to give you an overview on what attachment styles are and how they play a huge part in your relationships. I'm going to be able to give some examples that will start to give you insight into your own relationship and things that are going on between you and your partner. And one of the awesome things about getting my coaching personally is that I can sit there and just ask you a couple of questions about your situation and look at it, figure out what's going on with the attachment styles, and then give you adjustments on how to make corrections in your relationship that's going to make you and your partner feel better and both of you get your needs met better. So, I got an email here from James who said, hey Craig, I thought he called me Coach. Hey Craig, I have to say I have learned more about relationships from watching your videos in the past month than I have my entire life. Well, thank you, James. That is quite a compliment. This channel is going to be huge. I feel really grateful for all your hard work, so I wanted to make a donation to your channel, but I see that there isn't a donate button. Well, I appreciate that, James. I really do. And I didn't intend on putting up a donate button, but I've had a few people bring it up to me, and so I'm going to do that. But what I think I'm going to do is that any donations that you guys decide to give, I will put them for a college fund for my son. So that's one way I felt good about it, just giving it all to him so he's got, a nice college fund when he goes. So, James asks, so I still don't really understand what an attachment style is. Can you talk about it? Absolutely. But we're going to have to go back to a long, long time ago, to a crib not so far away. So, this all starts when we're a baby. And you're probably sitting there thinking, wait, what, Coach, really? No, listen. Listen to me. This is going to help you. I promise you. As a baby, when we're about 3 months old, we start to form an attachment to our caregivers or our parents. When I say that, by the way, those terms are interchangeable. I understand some of you may have been raised by grandparents or adopted or whatever. Caregivers, parents, whoever raised you. That's what I'm talking about in those first few years. So, we form an emotional bond. Now, you have to understand that human beings have the longest and most dependent infancy than any other mammal. Okay? If our caretakers don't take care of us, we die. We don't have a chance. We're not a turtle that hatches out of an egg, can go to the sea and has a chance of survival. No. As an infant, we can't take care of ourselves. I mean, we probably wouldn't be able to even till, 7, 8 years old. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. You get the point, okay? You need your parents to survive, so nature has us have a very strong emotional attachment to our caregivers. So, if our parents or caregivers are attentive to our needs, they hold us, feed us, change us, give us attention and love constantly and reliably, we form a secure attachment. Okay? When our parents are not as attentive to our needs and do not meet our needs consistently, we form an insecure attachment style. Okay? Now, here are just some of the possible reasons as to why that may have happened. Okay? These are some of the reasons you may have formed an insecure attachment style. Maybe your mother had a postpartum depression. She may have had 4 kids, 5 kids, or a bunch of kids running around, and didn't have as much time and energy to devote to just you. You could have had parents that worked all the time. You could have went to a daycare where they were overwhelmed and weren't able to give you as much attention. You could have had a parent that had an avoidant attachment style, which you may not know what that is yet, but they weren't very attentive to your needs. You could have had a parent with mental health issues, so they just didn't have the ability to take care of you and pick you up and do all those things that you needed. You could have a parent that was an alcoholic or a drug addict. Maybe they just weren't good parents. It could be a lot of reasons, but it doesn't matter. Whatever the reason, their inconsistency caused you to have an insecure attachment style. When we went to reach for our parents and they didn't come, it was painful. And that was our introduction to this world. So, for people that have an insecure attachment style, love does not feel safe. Okay? There's a lot of trickiness that comes with love for them, because depending upon how their parents were, it wasn't, like warm and fuzzy and made you feel good. It was like painful and scary that they were going to maybe abandon you. They were going to leave you. They were maybe, you just gave up on them ever taking care of you the way that you needed them to. So, let me explain the 3 types. There are 3 main attachment styles. There's secure, anxious, and avoidant. Now, these are not set in stone, people. I want you to understand that when I talk about these, it's like a continuum. You know what I mean? Like, you could have a really secure bond with your parents, or you could have had a kind of secure bond with your parents. You could have had a very anxious attachment style where you freak out really quickly because you're terrified you're going to get abandoned, so therefore you lose emotional self-control all the time. You lash out, you get angry, resentful, hurtful to your partner. Or maybe you have a lower level of anxious attachment style where sometimes you're worried that your partner's going to abandon you, but you're a little bit more reasonable. Now you can have avoidant attachment style. You could have a high level avoidance where you want to be living in the mountains with your pet goat who's your best friend, and you just don't trust anybody or anything. Or maybe it's a lower level where it's just like, they kind of don't trust people, they pretty much don't trust people, but they're willing to give them a shot. And, as you can see, it's going to change too. It's going to fluctuate based on how they're feeling, what's going on in the situation. So it's good to be aware of it. So let me explain a little bit about each one. The secure attachment style people are the ones that have strong, good attachments with their parents. They got their needs met most of the time. So in their world, love is more safe, they're more relaxed, they're not as stressed or anxious or upset about things, they are more able to regulate their emotions. These are the healthiest people. People that have a secure attachment style are generally very pleasant to be in a relationship with. Now, let's talk about anxious attachment style. These people are more fearful of abandonment. They have separation anxiety. They're constantly looking for things to prove that you don't love them and that you're not coming back. And obviously, the more anxiety they have, and by the way, all anxiety is separation anxiety. And the more anxiety that they have, the more they're going to freak out, get upset, struggle to be calm or rational before they're just going to get so upset about things, and it's such a struggle for them. Now you might see yourself in these, and that would be good, because the more insight you have, the better you're going to be able to understand what you're doing in the relationship. So then you have the avoidant attachment style people. These people just don't trust other people. They just don't trust people. If you've dated somebody that is like, I don't trust people, there it is. There's your answer right there. Because secure people, they trust people. Because in their world, they were trustworthy. Now, anxious people generally are more trusting. Now, someone that has a high level of anxiety probably is going to be a lot less trusting. But most Anxious people are trusting because they're hopeful and optimistic that their partner wants to be there and will love them. Because the thing about this is that the attachment style that we formed with our parents is going to mirror the attachment style that we form with our romantic partners. Okay? I know that's going to be like, wait, what? But that's why it's so critical to understanding this, is that the things that happen to you within the first 2, maybe 3 years of your life, but mostly the first 2, those feelings that we got from our parents are going to go over to our romantic relationships. Okay? So, where was I at? Avoidant. I'm talking about avoidant. Avoidant people are just not very trustworthy, and so they don't really attach to other people that well. Maybe their own children, but for the most part, they're the kind of people that if you break up with them, they're just kind of like, it is what it is. That's their attitude. So James asks, how does an attachment style affect relationships? Obviously, you can tell by what I'm saying, it affects our relationships in a lot of different ways. And I came up with one example that I wanted to share that it could show you across the board. So let's say you're in a situation where you said to your wife, listen, tomorrow night I'm going to cook us a nice dinner as soon as I get home from work. We'll have a nice dinner tonight, or together. We'll spend the evening together, whatever, doing something that you enjoy together, whatever. Okay. So, here's the example. I'm going to go through it with a secure, an anxious, and an avoidant type partner. Some of the things you might see them do. So, let's say you promised your wife that, you're going to cook her dinner, but you come home and you're in a really bad mood. You're stressed out, you're tense. If your partner is more of a secure attachment style type person, they're going to look at you and be like, wow, I see that he had a really bad day. He promised me that he was going to make dinner, and, I'm kind of disappointed. I was really looking forward to it, but obviously his boss was yelling at him, he was mistreated at work, whatever happened. I'm going to make dinner for him, and then they'll say to you, you know what, I'm going to cook dinner, but you can cook next time. You get me later on this week. Or they'll say, let's cook dinner together. Or whatever it is. They're going to be more patient and more understanding and reasonable with you about it. Sounds pleasant, doesn't it? It is. Now, if you have somebody that has an anxious attachment style, you're going to come home and your wife is going to be sitting there thinking, oh, I can't believe it. He promised me he was going to be here. I knew he was going to do this to me again. I wonder what he's doing. Why is he so late? They might even think you were out with another girl. They might be like, who did you go see? Why are you so late? I can't believe it. Your job is more important to you than your family or your wife. They're going to start saying things that are more frustrating for you to hear, and they're a little bit more unreasonable and irrational. They're going to, and depending upon their anxiety level, the more anxious they are, the more they're really going to be upset and just be like, I can't believe you did this to me. You promised. And this goes for men too. Don't think that I'm singling women out here. Guys, you do this too, and you're just as guilty. Alright? So let's be real here. They're going to be upset that you didn't cook dinner, and they're probably going to still be like, well, are you going to cook it? Because I'm hungry. So you might expect something like that. Now, let's talk about the avoidant attachment style. Let's say you come home late from work. You might walk in the door and see that your wife is sitting there eating. And you're like, oh, you cooked dinner? And they're like, yeah, but I didn't know you were going to be hungry because you were late, so I assumed you stopped and got something. You're going to be like, yeah, they're mad. You let them down again, just like mom and dad did. You let them down again, and so now they're angry, and they're going to be hostile towards you. They're going to be more likely to be angry, agitated, taking things out at you, and they're going to ignore you and act like they don't even care that you got home or how your day is, because they're going to be so internally focused on how upset they are, their needs are. They're not going to be like, well, how was your day? You had a bad day with the boss, what happened? They're going to be like, I don't care. You're always complaining about your boss. I don't know why you had that job. These are just some examples, but you can see the vast difference depending upon their attachment style. So, you have to understand that as a baby, our attachment to our caregivers is the introduction into this world. Growing up with those kind of caregivers slowly form our attachment style, and the more deprived we are, the more anxious or avoidant we're going to be. So, by learning about these attachment styles in my different videos, you're going to be more and more aware of why you do certain things in a relationship and your partner does certain things in a relationship. And when you can do that, you can start to see how to react to them differently and what you need to do differently to not only explain what you need, but try and give them what they need, because they might not be able to explain it to you. So, if you're in a situation where you're single, keep watching my videos, because I'm going to give you plenty of examples in future videos on things to know about attachment styles, so you know what you're getting yourself into. You're going to get to a point where you're going to say, you're going to look at things and you're going to be like, wow, I could see that this girl has an avoidant attachment style. So I know if I get into a relationship with her, she's not going to really attach to me. She's going to be more likely to break up with me. She's going to be more likely to not really care if I'm alive or dead. I'm exaggerating, but it's not too far from the truth. If you have somebody that has an anxious attachment style, you're going to be able to see why they're texting you more, why they're contacting you more, why they're getting upset more when you go out with one of your friends or you're late from work, because they're constantly going to be fearful that you're going to abandon them. So, if you like what I'm sharing with you guys, make sure you put a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be adding a lot of great content you guys are going to love. If you want to get my help personally, go to my website, askcraig.net, and sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. As you guys can see, I have a lot of really great insight that can help you individually and personally with whatever's going on in your relationship. So, that's it for this video. I'm Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.